welcome to No Outside Food Allowed, aka the Nofa Show. We're here to comment on all the special effects-laden entertainment, and today that includes some awesome new releases, including Super Troopers 2 and the new God of War. Yes. We also just watched the new episode of Westworld, so we're definitely going to comment on that. We'll probably do a weekly segment on that, we've decided.
And spoilers?
Absolutely spoilers.
Because it'll be released on Tuesday.
Yeah. Just have a couple of days between that and our podcast.
How else can you talk about this without spoiling it?
Exactly. We're going to have to talk theories and stuff anyway. So, anyway, also with only a few days left, we're going to talk Marvel's Infinity War. We're going to give you a little MCU rundown just in case you forgot some stuff. I know I have. I only saw Ant-Man once, so There you go. As always, I'm Adam. Today, I'll be the Tony Stark of this group of Avengers.
Ooh, nice.
I also have with me Sam Lim.
A.K.A. Bruce Banner, a.k.a. Hulk. I'm always angry. That's a secret.
Chris Felix.
I want to go outside the box and go Hawkeye, because we're in my house. We're my little family here.
Where are you, Dan? Where have you been? I don't know.
You haven't been on the posters, bro.
Stay tuned. I'll be around.
And Eddie McGowan.
I'll be Black Widow.
Very good.
Continue your sentence.
Got real quiet there at the end of that one.
I'll be Black Widow.
Gotcha. Well,
as soon as he said Hawkeye, it popped in my head. So.
All right, then. We'll assign Gagne the Vision or Doctor Strange?
Definitely Doctor Strange.
Since he's not here.
Definitely.
All right.
Are we using our fake names?
I guess we could.
Doctor Strange. All right.
Hulk smash.
Anyway, what have you guys been up to besides watching Westworld?
Me and my friend Edward here to my left-hand side, as the audience can see. Yeah. We went to go watch Super Troopers 2.
Yes.
Fun movie.
Of course,
Great
came
film.
out on Friday, 4/20.
Yes.
Packed with stoners, Sam, was it?
We went on a Thursday night, and it was surprisingly packed with stoners and their kids.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting. That seems to be a weird kids movie.
It was.
It shouldn't be a kids movie.
And the things that the parents were laughing at made it even better. Because it was usually like the sexual innuendo.
Yeah, the dirty jokes.
But they brought their kids. I was like, okay, I guess it's going to happen.
Birthers in that movie. That seems a little strange, but hey, I don't know. I don't have kids. So, Super Troopers 2, was it as funny as the first one?
I think... Oh, God.
No, but it was still very good, I thought. If you enjoyed the first one, I think you enjoyed the second one.
Yeah, the first one and second one are basically the same thing, kind of like 21 and 22 Jump Street.
Okay.
They just pick right back up.
Does it like continue like right after the last one?
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like, man, it was like a few years later because they get fired from...
I was going to say, there had to be like a random time jump, right?
Something happened, but the opening sequence is beyond hilarious. It's like way too much over the top.
How many meows were there?
2 to 3.
There's
a couple. Okay. That's what I'm just saying.
But the important part the audience need to know is to go watch it.
Yeah.
For Emmanuel Shariki. She was amazing. Her little accent.
Okay. I love her.
It was the best ever.
And just for everyone, he's told me that name like 4 times now. And
yes, it's a tough one. You don't think she's a hot chick, but she really is. Emmanuel Shariki.
Yes, the name doesn't match, but when you see her, you're like,
oh, damn.
Yeah, I was about to ask, what has he been in?
That's what I was thinking when he started. And he's told me the name multiple times.
She was in Snow Day. She was the chick that the guy was chasing down during Snow Day.
She's always been like that hot girls next door.
Yes.
And the Hot Shots movies.
A lot of them. Yeah, the Hot Shots movies. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Now I know.
Okay. Yeah, she's a cutie.
She's the one that he makes bacon and eggs on her belly.
All right, so Rotten Tomatoes.
Actually, it's not, but it's all right.
So Rotten Tomatoes has this movie at 35%.
Whoa.
What do you think?
Okay. Well, the movie was made for a specific audience.
Let me caveat. The audience score is 70%. Yeah. So obviously there's a pretty big...
Yeah, I agree with the audience because it's a certain mindset audience to go watch this movie.
Obviously.
Yeah. And they enjoy it in a certain enhanced viewing of the film.
Are you saying the critics aren't enhanced enough?
They probably don't get it. They're probably sitting there wondering what's going on. Well, how about this? Did the critics even watch the first movie?
Good question.
Pretty sure they did since they're critics and their job.
Maybe. So what is it, like almost 10 years old, though?
It's at least 10 years old. I'm still looking up this chick. I think she was in Waiting. It's all right. She was the bartender.
Yes. The lesbian bartender.
That's right. These are important facts.
Things you
All
need to
facts
know.
are important in life.
That's no.
Yes.
All right, I'm fact checking. Hold on. Super Troopers 1.
Here's another fact I'll throw at you. The opening weekend was 14.7 million
Ooh.
for a movie that was crowdfunded.
Yes,
So
that's pretty awesome.
Man, that's really good.
I think it was only a couple million to make for crowdfunding,
Yeah.
if I remember right.
It's
But
been
yeah,
awesome.
14 million,
And
money
just
in the bank.
So you guys know, Super Troopers came out in 2001.
There you go. Wow.
Yeah, dude.
17
A
years.
long time ago.
Dang. About time for the sequel.
Littering and
It's like Incredibles 2. Like how long
yeah.
between?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
is this like
Jesus.
one of those movies? Does it actually like worth the wait? I mean, because there's like a lot of comedy movies that came out are just like way too late.
Well, the thing
Zoolander
is,
2,
with
Dumb
this
and
one,
Are
Dumber
they
like-
cashing out, or do they actually have a good script?
Yeah.
Well, this one you have to approach it knowing that's gonna be stupid and silly and funny. Like as long as you have the mindset,
Well, I
you're
mean,
good.
so was Rampage, right?
Right.
And you love that one.
Well, Rampage had more action.
Well, obviously it's an action movie.
Exactly.
But if you go in this knowing it's a comedy and a kind of a stoner film,
then you'll
yeah.
you'll enjoy it.
But this isn't just like pure rehashed jokes, is it? It's
No.
not just
No.
the same.
Fre-
thing?
fresh jokes.
Okay.
Whenever it is, it's just like a small reference. Except, like even the I don't want to spoil anything, but
Well-
it's not. It's not. It's
Well,
not.
I'll mention a part that the fight between us and Canada is hilarious. It's hilarious. Like
Right.
Will Sasso plays a Mountie, and he's the most hilarious.
I can picture that very well.
Over
that's a cute
exaggerated,
mountain hat.
over exaggerated French Canadian character. Like,
Oh yeah, like
these guys were
ridiculous.
so over exaggerated, but it was so good. Like they knew the silliness, and they just went into the role, not deter from it. You know. So for me, it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, as long as it's more original, because like I don't know, when I kind of saw this, I was originally thinking like The Hangover 2, where it's literally just a rehash in a new location. and
Right.
as long as it's not the exact same movie, beat by beat, I'm
No,
cool with
no
that.
one eats soap in this one.
Nobody gets hosed down.
Different. I can't answer those questions.
All right,
the way you said
so
that.
out of 10, what do you give it?
How many meows out of 10?
How many meows?
Right meow,
Right meow?
Right
How many?
meow?
Yeah, right meow.
I give it 6.5 meows.
6.5 meows. Wow. Okay. What do you got, Eddie?
I'd give it a 7.5.
7.5.
I liked it. There's some schlockiness to it. But it's expected.
I gotta admit that the first Super Troopers, I really liked the first half of it, and then it kind of dies off.
Got goofy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember mentioning that to him when
Yeah.
we went to go see it.
So
This one got a little goofy too. Like especially Rob Lowe's character, ridiculous.
yeah.
Ridiculous. But the gimmickiness, the shenanigans that ensues, it makes it worth your time watching it. You're like, oh man, this
It's
still
almost offensive to
Is
Canadians.
it?
There's this Rob Lowe. Like, ugh.
Is he Canadian as well?
Yeah, he's French Canadian.
Oh my god.
So if you're Canadian and you're watching this, you might be offended.
I'm
But if you're
too nice to
American,
be
I love
offended, but
America. So is it worth watching in the theater, or is it like a Netflix
no.
thing?
I would wait. I'd either wait to rent it, or if you're like a big Super Troopers fan, or just wait for Netflix if you're not.
I guess yeah, you can watch it at home, so you can watch it enhanced all you want,
There you
and not
go.
have to drive far.
Not feel judged or paranoid.
Exactly. Order your pizza, have it delivered, you're good to go.
Nice. Very cool.
I agree with that, Eddie. High five.
So just watch the first one until it comes out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Helps.
There you go.
Or you want to borrow it from the internet and return it later. You know, whatever.
Who would do that? Nobody would.
We are definitely not telling you to download anything illegally.
In
Because
case you're listening, FBI.
Absolutely not. You should go and buy everything, just like I did with God of War.
Ooh, good
I had to.
segue.
It's one of my favorite games.
Do you want to open first, Adam? Do you want to talk about the goodies?
This is kind of like a whole new rehash of the game. I would
Oh,
say
yeah.
you don't need to know anything about the other ones to come into this game. It's a new entry point story-wise. It's very beautiful.
Visually. Oh, so
yeah,
good.
It's great.
You know, they've rehashed the entire combat system. Added some new mechanics with the throwing of the axe. And
It was weird, right? Getting used to the top button mechanics instead of the regular button mechanics.
I was telling Sam earlier that being a God of War fan, they switched the controls a little bit. Now they're a little more Dark Souls-y.
Yep.
And I was in my head using the old controls, so it was kind of throwing me off a little bit. So I switched them over to the old ones. And then I kind of realized why they had switched the controls to what they were, so it's a little more maneuverable, and you can use the whole controller.
Yeah.
So I switched them back to the default ones, and I actually find that to be a lot easier now. But yeah, really enjoying the combat. It's just really smooth, and it's a lot of mechanics too.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
a lot different, a lot of more RPG elements to the equipment.
Yeah.
The tree,
Yeah,
the leveling up. Yeah.
I'll let you go into that a little bit if you want.
Yeah, the new weapon system where it lets you basically whatever experience you get, you can put into whatever skills you want to unlock or combat moves, and there's just like a whole bunch that kind of change the way you play. And
Oh, definitely.
I think you could probably, I mean, depending, I don't know how many levels the max level is or whatever, so who knows?
I feel like I barely scratched the surface of it, and
Oh, definitely,
and it's
dude.
just it's so expansive at this point, you know.
Yeah. And then there's a weapon pommel that you can get to equip on the bottom of your
Yeah.
axe. It does
Yeah.
it changes stuff. You get
A lot of passives and different skills,
yeah.
and
And plus the fact that you have to decide between do you want to level up yourself or Atreyu. Yeah.
yeah. Let's talk about the kid.
Is it-
Felix, you have this game too, right?
I sure do. Is it
Talk
Atreus?
about, yeah,
or,
it's
what was
Atreus, or
Yeah.
just boy,
Or boy.
boy, boy.
Atreus,
read this.
Never-ending stories of Atreyu. That's what you're thinking.
yeah. Atreus.
Yes, but no, I love this so far. I'm only a couple of hours in. Like you said, I barely scratched the surface, but I love this game so far.
How far are you in from your perspective?
I don't want to spoil anything because so far every little moment has been so
Epic.
fantastic. Like even the subtle moments, like I was talking to Eddie, there's just like I'm not a dad, but I could just see the feels
frustrations
and the
and
father
the-
moments, and just there's one particular moment where there's a particular incident, like without really going into detail, where Atreus kind of does something a little bit more traumatic, and just his reaction and the way Kratos is trying to father him, and almost a slight awkwardness of like how he doesn't know how to be a gentle father.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I love that little struggle that he's having.
Oh,
with his
definitely.
old
The
self.
cut scene where he's trying to like console
Yeah.
his son, but he
Right.
pulls his hands back. You're like, oh man, that's
Yeah,
so tough.
and just the look on Atreus' face where he's just like, you see him growing into a man somewhat, little by little, as every little moment occurs, because he's very child. He's very much a child, very innocent,
Very mature at the beginning.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
but you see this fear, like whenever he's near Kratos, where he's like he wants to impress his father, but he's also very fearful.
He doesn't
of,
really
like,
know
disappointing.
him, it seems.
Yeah, it seems like they're still like
I
learning
like-
a lot about each other.
Yeah, I like how it hasn't really answered the question of how he came to be with another family,
Right.
and
Yeah.
how his wife ends up being
I definitely enjoy the
killed or
mystery.
whatever.
Yeah.
So there's definitely still some mystery to it, and it unfolds real kind of slowly, but it's just so cool right now. It's
Yeah.
Well,
just very-
the majority just got to the middle part, right?
I'm only a couple hours in. Like I said, I'm
Okay,
trying
good.
not to
No.
go into details, but
I'm not gonna spoil
I
it.
think he's saying map wise.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure, honestly. I've
Yeah,
fought
okay.
two bosses
No
so
problem.
far.
It's a little bit open world. This is how it differs from the other ones. They're very linear, kind of chapter wise. But in this one, it's kind of like Tomb Raider, where you have kind of an open world map, but you have some key points and side quests that you can go to. But the story is still fairly linear.
Yep.
You can't really go back and do things.
But it
once
also
you've
pays
passed a
off to
certain point.
explore. It always pays off to explore this on all these maps. Like a little treasure here, a little chest there. Like I like the fact that there's something from the old game that keeps you going.
If you get this game and you haven't reached a certain point in the game, if you see a portal and it has an O button on it, fair warning. Don't reach into it too often.
You mean like the little glowy portals?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can
I-
you reach in there, and sometimes you get good stuff, and sometimes you like pull out like really tough enemies.
Yeah,
Huh.
like
Interesting.
where they one hit you as soon as they come through the portal, and I go, oh,
And they
well,
whoop
that
your ass.
sucked.
I don't think I've seen it
So
yet.
I would think this God of War is harder than any of the ones previously.
But
in
it's
my
so much
opinion.
fun. So much fun.
It's a little bit mechanic wise. You have to be smarter.
Oh, yeah.
There's like in the other ones, you have the chains with the blades on them, right? And you kind of have this buffer between you and the enemies the whole time, right? And in this one,
Not
you
anymore.
know, it's all up in the face, so you have to be smarter with
Let
the
me-
dodges.
let
You
me ask
can't-
this honest question.
You get hit a lot more.
How many of you guys?
Because
How many of you guys
it's
forgot?
like
Dark
Dark
Souls.
Souls.
How many of you guys forgot to call back your axe already when in the middle of battle?
Oh, all the time.
All
I
the
forget.
But when I do forget it and I remember, it's at the perfect time. Like, oh
Right?
yeah, and it comes back and it knocks out like
Yeah,
three dudes. You're like,
exactly.
this is
Yeah,
the greatest weapon
exactly,
ever.
bro.
I love it.
It's really
Oh,
cool because
definitely.
it's like Thor's hammer, and it comes
Yeah.
back to you
Yeah.
when you
Right.
throw it. So it's a really cool mechanic
Yeah,
on that.
the actual combat system, I love the brutality of it. I mean, the God of War has always been brutal, but it was more of a button masher before.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you said, this is
Little
more
bit.
of a strategic base.
Oh, definitely.
Where like I love the axe weapon. Like you could just chuck it at somebody, freeze them in place because it has these ice powers, and then just beat the crap out of somebody else with your fists. And the sound design on this is so good too. Like it's
dude.
so satisfying just hearing Kratos just
Rip somebody in half
Dude,
or-
I
Yeah.
love the brutality.
The voice actor they got totally fit the role.
Yeah, he's
like
great.
his voice is so it has a commanding presence every time he talks. You're like, oh man, hate to piss him off if he was my dad.
Who is the actor playing his voice?
It's the actor from
Stargate?
SG-1.
The guy that plays
the
Teal?
thing in his
Yeah.
head? Okay, I know what you're talking
him.
about.
He was in
He's doing a good
Dark
job.
Knight. Oh, definitely, dude.
Yeah.
He's such
He
a good
fits it.
job.
One funny little detail that I noticed too, I don't know if you guys noticed, but with a story like this, when it feels so cinematic, I try to just continue it because I don't want to delay. It's almost like watching a movie, and sort of like you're pushing pause. But I kind of just ventured off for a little while, and Atreus kind of comments towards you. He's like, "The path is
Are you
this
sure
way."
this is what we should be
Yeah,
doing?
I
Yeah,
love
exactly.
that it kind of
Yeah.
adapts to you exploring, and it doesn't just make it feel like you're pausing the game
Or
to go do your own thing.
you'd be exploring stuff. You said, I thought you didn't want to explore.
Yeah,
You know?
that's so
Well,
great.
Have you had Atreus looking at something and you start to walk across the way and he'd be like, boy. And he's like, oh, so sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Come, boy.
Yeah, it's great, dude. I absolutely love this. Like I said, I'm only a few hours in, but I absolutely love the way this is going, and then just the seamlessness of it as well. Like the story was before this game even came out that it's going to be one long take, and so far it is.
Yeah.
Dude,
Right.
I'm fine with that.
I haven't seen much
Like,
loading.
So fluid.
I'm so proud of this studio because the Santa Monica studio, like they've never let me down. The God of War series has always been on point, and knowing
Agreed.
that they brought something new to the table to this franchise and basically give it like a rebirth is so amazing. The detail, the strategy, like just for the fact that the last few games, right? I can go in slash and I don't really get hurt. This one, I have to strategize between throwing and bring up my shield because there's two different buttons.
What do you feel like you use more, the axe, or you go in and just punch people so that they can, what is like a stun
Like
thing?
an
So you go in and,
execute,
go in with the special move.
Depending on if I have flying enemies or not. If I don't have any flying enemies, fist to fist. But if a flying enemy, then I'll have to judge it out and hit him with the axe or have
Use the bow.
or use
Have
the bow.
Atreus use the bow
Yeah,
anyway.
have Atreus use the bow, and then I'll take down the enemies in front of me.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I like mixing it up though. Like there's something I kind of like putting myself in Kratos' shoes. Like you're not worthy
What would
of
he
my
do at this
axe.
point?
I was like, I'm just gonna beat the crap out of you. Guys.
Right?
This is-
You're gonna hit
you're
this
not
dude with the
worthy.
axe and then just go at you with
then
the
this
fist.
giant troll comes out like, you're worthy.
Same way I think of him, but except I always think of Kratos wanting to finish it as fast as possible, especially because he's showing his son how it's done, right?
I just got introduced to the first dragon. I'm a little bit farther than you guys, but yeah,
Really?
it's pretty giant.
I was excited when I discovered the R3. I was like, oh, I can beat you
Like
down halfway and hit
execution
R3 and rip your head off. Yes, I love that.
What I like is Kratos still has a hint of like his Roman garb
Yes,
underneath his like furs now.
The Omega symbol that holds his
Oh, I
axe.
love that. That's a
that
cool
was
little
so
detail.
smart. I was like, I love you guys.
Yeah,
I just like that he's like because he's a Greek or whatever.
Greek god. Yeah.
That he like they're like you're supposed to be more civilized. Like the stranger was talking to him,
Yeah.
and like when they come up to the thing, is that he's like, oh Dad, look at that torch. He goes, it's made in stone. It's brazier. it's like
He's always correcting him.
yeah, a brazier. Sorry, I just said brazier.
Eddie's tired. Eddie's been dadding all day.
Boy.
All right.
Another thing I really like about this game is it's got really clever puzzles.
The puzzles are fun, dude. It's
Yeah,
enjoyable.
To open a lot of the chests, you have to, ring a lot of random bells or find runes. It's pretty clever so far. And that's what I liked about God of War as compared to like Dark Souls. It's really kind of engaging you a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's going to be a part in the game, Chris, when you get to. Don't remove your axe. You need your axe to open things, and don't call it back.
I've been doing that a few times so far.
Yes.
There's a particular room where the ceiling looked pretty dangerous.
Right?
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did that part of it. Got into combat. Completely forgot.
Yeah, right.
my
Pull it
axe,
back, and
pull
then
it
like
back.
all of a sudden you're dead.
What I did was I hit the axe, right? And I jump in with the shield up. I'm like, hey, whoever's showing up is going to get a fistful just in the face.
Yeah, I can't wait to jump back in.
Yeah,
Fantastic
needless
so
to
far.
say, I'm just waiting to get back to it.
What are
High
we
marks
doing
for
here?
me.
No.
Yeah, right. Let's finish this up. We're done. here.
10 out of 10 for me. I'm good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It gets
So
10 out of
far,
10.
it's
Yeah,
10.
give you a more thorough review later, but yeah, so far is I don't want to call it perfect, but it's pretty
Damn near close.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
dude, even the sound's perfect. Like the
the
music.
score is great. I
Oh,
love it. Yeah,
dude.
yeah, and one of the most gorgeous looking games too. Like I thought Horizon Zero Dawn was great. Like
I know.
oh my god, this
They have an option that you can turn off all the HUD so you can just play the
I
game
don't
without
wanna
it.
do it.
Yeah.
But I suck.
That's good.
I saw a video
Yeah,
online that
stats.
showed it, and it's
Okay.
just just purely for visual, so there's nothing distracting
that.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of cool. High marks from all the groups here. If you know anything about games, go check it out.
Go rent it. Go buy it. Do whatever you gotta do, man.
Yeah,
Get it done,
for sure.
It's 30 hours.
boy.
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 All right, boys. Let's talk about Westworld. We just watched that, the first episode,
Hell yeah.
season 2. It was pretty amazing. I can't wait to see more. So many questions. Where do we start?
Oh, was anything from season 1 answered for you?
Answered. Probably.
No.
There's just a whole lot more questions.
I'm sure we'll answer it after we, go through the first 50 questions that I have for this next episode.
Yeah.
That was
For
good.
sure.
Just,
I like the dual timeline so far.
Yeah,
I dig
well,
it.
we have no idea what's happening so far. I feel like we're not going to know for at least a few episodes, but I'm digging the setup. I'm especially loving Ed Harris's part right now.
Yes.
It's really calling the video gamer in me.
It's very Dark Souls.
He's very much in New Game Plus mode right now. Like,
Yes,
he found his
we were
gear.
saying that he's a couple of smiles in the episode. He's really
Yeah.
in his element now.
I love his line where he says, I think I just arrived. That
Yeah.
was good. I love how he just,
He's here now.
He's living it all over again.
Yeah,
He's
New
finally
Game
getting what
Plus.
he wants.
Exactly.
Plus, the fact that it was told that he's been chosen for the game, I was like, oh, man.
They did. They actually gave him a little bit of confirmation of his part in the game. This is actually for him somehow.
Now you have to find the door.
The door. Yeah, that's the new thing in this season is the door.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see where the show goes this season because it looks like we're going to be going a lot of different places.
Total chaos.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos.
And then a bit of the city, too. That's
Well, the
interesting.
real world, it seems, because
Yeah.
the first season was basically the entirety was in the park, and then just in
a little bit inside the main building,
frame,
I
yeah.
guess. Whatever.
So this one looks like we're actually going to see the real world, and then all the other park worlds as well. Looks like they're kind of merging. It seems.
Well, I
or
like the
somehow
fact
at end.
that at the beginning you can tell that the park itself is somewhere in the body ocean of China, the way it's established.
They
with
did
the,
have
with
a
the
little
Chinese
cameo
military.
with the Chinese military.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, interesting. We know where it is. There's less laws out there.
So what Felix was saying about the parks kind of merging, they had a scene where there was a Bengal tiger in the Westworld park, and they were like, where did this come from? And they're like, well, there's a Bengals in the other park. Why would they be crossing over?
Yeah, parks.
Exactly.
And so, maybe they're coming together somehow.
Well,
Maybe
Starting to
that's-
merge.
And then the random
Yeah.
sea that appears at the end too.
Yeah,
so-
somehow. And there were a bunch of dead hosts in there, which was a little
Have
confusing.
they said how many parks they have?
Five parks
they
is
say
what I
five?
heard.
I thought
Yeah.
the guy said Park 6.
Oh, by the way, spoilers for this episode.
By the way, we didn't say so before. Yeah.
Oops.
I'm pretty sure I heard 5 on the internet, maybe 6, but the only ones they confirmed so far is Westworld and Shogun World,
Okay.
Right.
'cause-
they're the only
well,
ones that have
that-
names,
Right.
at least so far.
right. Which we did see some extended footage at the end of Danny's character with the sword, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But I definitely gotta say, the creepiest factor tonight was that unfinished humanoid host.
Yeah, he's just sneaking up on
That's
Bernard about
so
3-4 times.
crazy, dude.
He's very sneaky.
The way he's walking just silently, or the way it's walking, I'm like, I
You
would
can
hate to
tell
have
that
one
thing's
of
going
those.
to Terminator eventually.
Oh,
It has to.
Oh, yeah.
It has to,
You
bro.
can put a hand through somebody's chest, right?
I love the design of it though. It's so like Sam said, it's like super creepy. Like I've mentioned that before. Just figures that just look human but aren't human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're terrifying. And something so silent and just has no expression. That's terrifying.
the real terrifying thing was Dolores and what she
Oh my god,
plans.
she's in beast mode.
She's awesome. Like
She's gone from farm gold to total badass in this episode, or this, I guess, arc so far.
Yeah.
So far, yeah, she's very Sarah
She's taking the
Connor,
lead now,
Terminator.
very much. And then she's got, which basically like her sidekick Cyclops over
Poor
here,
Cyclops.
which he finally got a kiss, but who knows if that's not just Dolores dragging him along, He might have said 2 words in this episode.
She just gives him just enough for him to go. He's like, yeah, I'll keep following you. Cool, totally.
friend zone.
Hey, sure this is what you want to do? Hey, come with me or not? Okay,
Why do I feel like this actor always gets the short end of everything? Like in everything that I've really
He's
seen.
typecast.
a little bit.
yeah,
I
he's-
love him as an actor though.
No, he's
really
great.
good, but
Yeah,
yeah,
don't get me
it
wrong.
does feel like he always kind of
Besides
gets
X Men,
over.
and then even in Superman Returns, he was the
Right.
husband to Lois Lane, and obviously
sidekick,
she's going to go
basically.
back to Superman. So,
Don't forget, he also got robbed in 27 dresses, but then
He
kind
was-
of get the girl again.
so
I
yeah.
love him in Sex Drive.
Yes.
Oh
That-
yeah, he was
where
so
he-
hilarious.
Nice.
Oh, he just drops the motorcycle in the middle of the street and walks up and he like lifts it halfway and he goes, "You fucking didn't." And then
He was like the high testosterone brother.
yeah.
That shit was hilarious.
Because remember, a neighbor's walking by. He's like, "Is this your fucking bike? You can't leave your bike here." And then he just turns around and starts chasing the guy.
He's great. Yeah, well, hopefully James Marsden gets a little bit of a better run in this show. Especially-
I
even
would
in the
hope
first
so.
season.
Yeah,
'Cause even in the first season,
he's
I'm sure
gonna,
he
screwed a lot.
kind of wake up
Yeah.
and
Yeah. He did have that great moment in the first season with that minigun or that chain gun.
Oh
at the-
yeah,
at
when
the
he was
end.
shooting, he was having a great time. Well, my question is, what about Anthony Hopkins' character?
Oh.
I think we.
Well, he's
basically
dead
have
right
information.
now.
Real dead.
Oh no, he's dead for now.
Right
He's-
now.
he's dead for now.
I believe
nobody
that
dies. Nobody dies. He's got
Not
a clone
Westworld.
somewhere.
I'm sure he built his
As
own
far
clone.
as having a host body, we know that wasn't a host body because it had like the meat.
Maggots?
It
maggots
showed,
in
yeah,
it.
it showed
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
maggots
yeah.
for sure.
Inside
So if you
just-
thought if maybe that was a robot,
Yeah,
they,
that's
they
why-
extended that for sure.
Yeah.
But he could have another little kid robot somewhere,
Yeah.
Or a full size him
or
somewhere.
an old guy
Yeah.
robot for sure.
Well, wasn't the little kid robot that Man in Black shot? Wasn't that like the model of him? Or
Yes.
as
As a
a
kid?
kid? As a kid?
As a
That's
kid,
what I
yeah.
thought. Okay.
And he had that creepy voice.
Yeah, that's why he had.
Yeah, it was
like,
weird.
It was like Anthony Hopkins mixing.
Yep.
in a
I
little
can't wait
bit.
for the Man in Black to just fucking shoot everybody.
I know he's so awesome.
Yeah. But I'm excited. Guys, got any predictions or anything? Maybe. What do you think? It's kind of hard to say, though. Really.
It is kind of hard to say at this
I
point.
think I can build a prediction by episode 2. Like after you watch episode 2 or 3, you can build a little more.
Just say something ridiculous, and if it happens, you'll be seen as like the next Messiah.
All right, fine. In Shogun World, Donnie Yen shows up and defeats everybody.
That's not a bad prediction.
Especially if he's playing.
It's Johnny Yen. Come on.
Like his
Dude, you
host
can't-
has
didn't-
like all the kung fu and all the martial arts like at 100%.
Speaking of Donnie Yen, though, didn't he end Into the Badlands starting today or tomorrow?
Yeah,
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
it's someone else.
Oh, it's not. Isn't someone else? Huh.
No, not Donnie Yen.
Daniel is Ip Man.
Yes. That's,
Oh,
that's
that's-
right. That's,
that's
right.
right,
Yeah.
that's right.
And he was also in Rogue One. That was a great movie.
I love Rogue
Mm-hmm.
One.
He was also better in Triple X movie. He was a lot better than that one.
No,
Because that one he got see
No,
and he
Triple X,
fought.
Triple X.
Which one?
Yeah.
The first one?
No, there was a second one.
There was
Or
a
the third
second
one.
one?
The third one.
Was
Return to
there one?
Xander.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Return to
Yeah,
Xander.
yeah, I didn't see that.
But
one.
he was actually good in that, like martial art wise. Like his
Yeah, he's a great martial
action
artist.
scenes are freaking amazing.
He's an actor, though. Yeah, I hear he's an actor. So
Oh, you
sometimes
don't
he
say?
doesn't have to be the stereotypical martial artist.
But he went to school for martial arts.
Doesn't,
And?
that's not the point. He doesn't have to be a martial artist in every movie.
Listen, I'm
because
saying he's
he-
better than Iron Fist, okay?
Duh. Who isn't? Anyways.
Fucking Iron Fist. Anyway, speaking of Marvel, let's
Smooth like
so we can get off
sandpaper.
of this
I
freaking
guess.
subject. Anyway,
That was a segue.
watch some Westworld. We'll continue with the episodic thing every week. For that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good little.
As audience, let us
journey
know
for
what
us.
you think about it. What's your theories, Let us know on Facebook, Instagram.
Absolutely. We're going to put up some posts about Westworld for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Felix, what about the MCU, man? We're going to
Oh,
go
man.
over a few of these, right?
Are you going to
Got it.
educate us tonight, bro?
I'm gonna give you a quick rundown because
So excited for
like
this
if you didn't
Infinity
hear,
War.
Yeah, Infinity War is just a few days ahead, and in case you don't have time to watch 18 movies and catch up, we got you covered.
Exactly.
Cover some quick little facts on everything because obviously you don't need to watch every single one. I'm just going to cover all the basic important facts that you need to know leading up to this movie, as far as important characters, story arcs, and just things you should know before going into this.
Yeah.
So, if we're ready, let's hop in the Wayback Machine.
Do we start the stopwatch? I'm kidding.
Are we going to time me? Because I can
no,
move
no,
through
no,
this
no,
real
no.
fast, but do you want to understand what I'm saying?
Nah, we got plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Okay.
Just relax, bro.
Hey,
You got
18
this.
movies, let's
Yeah, we
got
got
a few to
we
cover,
got plenty of
Yeah,
time.
yeah. 2
Let's-
minutes per movie.
Let's start with phase 1, huh?
Let's go back to phase one, back in the day. It was back in May 2008. Let's go back and meet Tony Stark for the first time in the original Iron Man. This kickstarted the whole MC universe. Met Tony Stark, and you know his story. We all love him.
What a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
I
Great,
mean,
great
He was a
fantastic
great
movie.
alcoholic. I like him.
Movie still holds up, in
some
my
reason.
opinion. So not that
Absolutely
long
holds
ago.
up.
It's still a fantastic, fun ride. We're introduced to lots of important characters, including Tony Stark himself. We all love him. Pepper Potts, played by Gwyneth Paltrow. Happy Hogan, played by Jon Favreau. James Rhodes, who's changed actors over time.
Right.
This is originally Terrence Howard. It eventually moved over to Don Cheadle a couple movies later. We're also introduced to Phil Coulson of S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury for the first time in a post-credits scene, actually. So, yeah, very straightforward movie. It's a lot of self-discovery about Tony Stark himself as Iron Man, becoming the hero. Kind of a throwaway villain, but Jeff Bridges does an amazing job,
Yep.
just being himself up until the end when he becomes a bigger Iron Man.
Yep.
Basically, he
I
becomes
find this
Iron
to be
Monger.
kind of the Marvel formula for origin story movies is they kind of
Absolutely.
just fight their evil version of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
which, it works for the first one. You're trying to establish just that main character anyway. So,
But
Anyway.
yeah, it's a great standalone movie. Go check it out. I absolutely recommend us to go watch this if you're going to go see Infinity War, especially if you just want to get a good start as to where it all started. Moving on to literally just 1 month later, June 13th, 2008, we had The Incredible Hulk. Not much to say. Not a great movie.
This was the one that didn't have Ruffalo.
Nope. This was
It
Edward Norton.
Still,
It was Ed Norton.
It was Ed Norton, and it was still kind of connected to the MCU.
Yeah, it's very much a standalone film. It's Bruce Banner on the run. He's in South America, running from General Thunderbolt Ross and the U.S. Army. And he also fights Abomination at the very end. It's also the first hint to the super soldier serum. It was applied to Tim Roth's character, who becomes the Abomination in the end.
The evil version of Hulk.
And the
Basically.
deleted scene of Frozen Captain America.
There was an included deleted scene that, if you find it on the Blu-ray, it actually does show the first hint of Captain America frozen in the snowy tundra in the background. I believe it was the opening scene. But yeah, movie's fine. It's not the best in my opinion, but you really don't need to watch it to really fully understand Infinity War. It's fine if you want a nice little side story for the Hulk, but otherwise,
and technically not his origin story, which was
No.
the Hulk, which was just Hulk actually, and wasn't even connected to
Ang
the
Lee,
MCU.
its own thing.
Um,
Definitely not a great movie.
Not a great
Oh,
movie,
wait,
but
are
it
you talking
had
about
cool
the Ang
cinematography.
Lee version or this version?
No, the Ang Lee, the very
Okay,
version.
okay.
Yeah.
Because
But that was
Nightmare
more of his origin story per se.
Yeah.
How he
with
became the
Eric
Hulk.
Bana playing Eric Banner.
Basically, yeah.
Kind of.
It wasn't
But-
confusing at all.
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, skipping forward a few.
Movie number 3, Iron Man 2. Moving on, Thor. No, so let's go back to Iron Man 2. It's May 7, 2010, 2 years afterwards, everything else. Really kind of its own standalone story, but we are introduced to the Black Widow for the very first time, which is great. Scarlett Johansson, she
There you
sticks
go.
around, she kills it. And we also get
Can
to
I
see...
get one?
I'm actually
Can I
going
have
to
one?
argue on that one. The movie was horrible with the editing because our fight scenes were so choppy. They were so bad. In the hallway fight scene.
Iron Man 2?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what he's saying. Iron Man 2. is
Not a
garbage.
great
It
movie.
wasn't a great movie.
It was horrible.
but
the fighting.
we also
Yeah,
get to
we
see
get a couple of
James
good-
Rhodes for the first time as War Machine, so we get to see the War Machine
Right.
in its full glory. But again, not the greatest movie. Very throwaway villain with Whiplash, played by oh my God, Mickey Rourke. Sorry,
Yep.
I was blanked on his name. And also we do have Justin Hammer, played by Sam Rockwell, who's actually quite entertaining for the most part. But again, not really necessary for the full spectrum, but it's a nice introduction to several characters. But anyways, moving on to Thor. Here we go. So first appearance of Thor, I would say go ahead and watch this movie. Not exactly important as far as the full long run, but it is a great introduction to Thor, Loki, and Odin, and Asgard as well.
I actually really liked the first one.
It was entertaining. I just don't find it necessarily. It's necessary for the full
And
Infinity story.
Hawkeye.
I guess I like it more because I'm a fan of mythology, as
Yeah.
with God of War and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It kind of goes deeper into some of the gods
It's
and
a fun
how
movie.
they,
Yeah.
came to be and why they're even
Well,
care
plus,
about
plus the
Earth
fact that
and-
his own dad, Odin, put him in check. He's like, you're still like
Yeah.
a child.
It's basically a story of Thor being.
it's a growing
humbled.
up story of Thor.
And like you said, there is actually a quick cameo of Hawkeye for the first time. We do see him
That's right.
appear when Thor is trying to retrieve his hammer back on Earth. But again, fun standalone movie. One quick note about it, though, in the post-credit scene, we do get a hint at Tesseract. What is that? Let's find out. Going way back to the 1940s, we go Captain America, the first Avenger. So this is, again, I've noticed that all Captain America movies have a great deal of information, including this one. Despite how you feel about this one, I personally found it a little slow, but it's still entertaining. You get your first introduction to Steve Rogers, who is imbued with the powers of steroids. Sorry, super soldier serum. We also get an introduction to Bucky Barnes, who dies and we never see again. Also, introduction to Peggy Parker.
true.
I know. Peggy Carter, who got her own standalone show, and the Red Skull, played awesomely
course.
and completely underused by Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, they need to bring him back somehow.
I would love that. But again, fun standalone. If you really want the full details of Captain's origin, this is a great way to start. But we also get a great introduction to the Tesseract as well, which we come to find out later is the Space Stone, one of the 6 stones that we will go into more detail about later. But yeah, so leading up to that. Oh, we also do get an introduction to young Howard Stark. So if you want to find out a little about Tony Stark's parents, here we go.
Well, also because young Howard likes to go fondue with Agent Carter.
Sex jokes.
Yeah. 'Cause remember in the scene, the plane, when Steve Rogers got nervous, he's like, "So do you like to fondue with him?" And like the joke was so bad, but it was so
Kinda,
funny.
Yeah, Captain America being
But,
cheesy.
Yeah, fun movie though. It's it does work as a standalone, but I would say definitely recommend this one to go ahead and watch this before
It's
you
kind
watch
of the
Infinity
first
War.
of the, I guess, arc of the Infinity Stones, if
Yeah.
you will. So I would
Absolutely.
and it's because it's a period piece of kind of goes back in time, to old Captain America. So it's going to set up some stuff for the future.
Yeah, definitely go watch this one. It's a good introduction to the character himself, and in the long run, I really feel that Captain is kind of the central character, which we'll talk about leading up to
Yeah,
Infinity
we
War.
were talking earlier that Captain America movies seem to be kind of like the backbone of the MCU. Is really where they're kind of packing in some of the important key information.
Well, especially the second one.
Yeah,
which we'll get to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But moving on, past Captain America, movie number 6, The Avengers, finally comes. We finally get them together for the very first time. So in this movie, we actually see Loki become fully fledged villain. He's actually working for the Chitauri, which is an alien race, to retrieve the Tesseract from Earth, which at this point is in the hands of S.H.I.E.L.D. With this, we see Loki invade Earth, and he actually enslaves Dr. Eric Selvig, who we were introduced to in Thor, and also Hawkeye. This poor bastard doesn't get a break. With that, we actually get the Avengers grouped together for the very first time. We get to see this amazing battle in New York.
Movie.
Absolutely
The
go
director,
watch this.
The best director ever.
Joss Whedon absolutely directed the hell out of this movie.
Man.
This is absolutely a fantastic, fun movie. This is absolutely necessary if you want to, be in the loop of everything. This is the first time you get to see this group, and it's so much fun. I saw it again not that long ago, and it still holds up absolutely.
This one's gonna hold up.
The
for a
joke
long
still
time.
holds up, right?
Everything about this holds up. I mean, you can skip past the stupid little plot holes, like how are they talking to each other without communicators? I don't care. It's just a fun movie. Go loosen up and have some fun.
I like the
with
fact
this.
that the guy's like, "Oh, who's that guy over there playing Pac-Man?" And the guy's like, "What?"
A lot of great chemistry between the cast in this movie, and this is
definitely.
absolutely it. And of course, with the post-credit scene, you get our first glimpse of Thanos, who we will definitely talk about later on. So.
And in this movie, at the end, you get kind of that Tony Stark moment where he saves the world, and then he kind of comes back with a little PTSD from the whole event.
Oh, definitely.
So that sets up his whole mind frame for
Leading into phase 2 with the first movie, Iron Man 3, which is all about Tony Stark having PTSD.
yes.
About it. There's not much else going on here.
Other than a terrible version of the Mandarin.
Not a fan of this film. This movie can work fine on its own. I say go ahead and watch it for shits and giggles, but it does not. It's absolutely
Totally
not
not
necessary
necessary.
for the
Yeah.
overall scheme. Again, the Mandarin, which is a classic villain in the Iron Man stories in the comics.
Kind of.
I have a lot to say about this, but I'm not going to go into it because I could be here all night. Okay. Anyways, this movie.
You want
fine.
Felix to blow up? Mention
Nope.
that one.
We still got a lot of movies to cover.
That's right.
So moving on.
To hit him, you gotta say Ghost Rider.
Nope.
Nope.
Anyways,
Just
moving on.
ignore it, Felix.
That's not a part of the MCU. Anyways, moving on. Movie number 8, Thor: The Dark World. So kind of a forgettable movie, if you ask me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
that's
What
a-
was this one?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly the first thing we talked about. I was like, I like Thor
The only
1,
thing
I
that
like
happened in
Thor
this movie of any importance really is the
ether.
Yeah, which
The
ends up
ether.
being another
The
stone.
Reality Stone, which we'll get to
Yes.
again later. Aside from that, very much a standalone film on its own. It's kind of fun, though. There's some really good moments in there, some great moments between Loki and Thor.
Exactly. That's really the only thing that plays out in these
Right.
is that brotherly.
The
kinda
actors
back and
themselves make the movie a lot of fun. Anthony Hopkins as Odin is always great as well. Idris Elba as Heimdall is always a lot of fun as well. So this is definitely a fun movie. It's not a terrible movie as a lot of critics make it seem.
Well, I
It's
think
just-
this one's better than Iron Man 2 and 3.
Agreed. But it's definitely not necessary for the overall story, aside from the fact that we do get an introduction to the ether, which, again, we'll talk to later. Anyways, moving on to number 9, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Absolutely watch this movie.
This is probably one of the better ones in my opinion.
Absolutely
This is
one
the
of the
introduction
best.
of the Russo brothers.
Well, besides
amazing.
the Russo brothers, who are also handling, which we'll get to later, Civil War and Infinity War,
Yeah.
we have so much going on in this movie. So starting from the beginning, get a great introduction to Captain America teaming up with Black Widow, taking on some terrorists over in the Atlantic. But the overall story with this one is we find out the S.H.I.E.L.D. has been corrupted since World War II when Hydra,
Hail Hydra.
actually... they had soldiers being sleeper agents within S.H.I.E.L.D. and eventually kind of overtook the entire thing, which we kind of have a little breakdown in this movie. But we're also introduced to Sam Wilson, the Falcon, in this movie for the very
Yes.
first time. So great new partner for Captain, really fun character as well. And that guy that died a long time ago, Bucky, is back as the Winter Soldier.
What? Bucky?
Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
You mean nobody dies?
yeah. Yeah, nobody dies in comics. Yeah, we have the Martha of this universe for Captain because that's a safe word.
So you got Cap's new friend Falcon and old friend Bucky in the same movie. Yeah,
That'd be awkward.
Yeah, absolutely. But great, absolute. One of the best movies in my opinion. Definitely go watch this one. I would definitely say this is necessary for the long run due to the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. turning of events. And also with the post-credit scene, we do get a little hint of the future with the twins. We have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver displayed for the first time, and we find out that Baron Wolfgang von Strucker is experimenting on them with Loki's scepter.
And then we got Bone Crusher, and also just want to let the fans
Crossbones.
know. Crossbones. And then we also want to let the fans know that this storyline affected Agents of Shields too, the TV show, which is kind of crazy. how
Agents
they
of
played it
Shield
out.
is very much it's kind of its own entity.
I think Agents of Shield came from this movie, basically, didn't they? Start
Oh,
Well,
season
it started
two.
earlier on. We mentioned Phil Coulson earlier. He was actually killed in the Avengers, but somehow resurrected for
The show.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And then, yes, this movie did have major repercussions on the show itself. But again, the show is not necessary for the entire story arc, but it's still a fun little fact there. So, yeah, absolutely go watch The Winter Soldier. One of the best. Moving on, number 10, everybody's favorite, Guardians of the Galaxy. One of the more fun movies. Everybody loves this movie. Definitely go watch this because we have some of the most important characters you need to know
definitely.
about. Besides the Guardians themselves, you have Star-Lord, you have Gamora, you have Rocket Raccoon, don't call him Raccoon, Groot, and we have Drax the Destroyer. I mentioned Gamora earlier, a very important character along with Nebula, her sister, both children of Thanos, who actually makes an appearance in this movie as well. Yeah. This is absolutely necessary because we also are introduced to the third stone, the Power Stone. So that is put on display into its full potential here and eventually is handed over to the Nova Corps by the end of the film. It's a great standalone film, but it is very much an important part to the overall Infinity War story arc. So definitely go check this one out.
Plus,
Great
it was
movie.
outside the box too.
It's
Big
very
time.
much its own monster, and it
Dude, so good.
very much loosened up the audience to the fact that things can get real weird and still be real fun.
Yep. That was the first time I ever saw him, knew anything about the Guardians, and
That's
I was
true.
kind of a more of a Marvel fan than DC. And I never heard of them before, so
They did a good job of reinventing, well, not really reinventing, but I guess reinvigorating those characters.
yeah.
Took a bunch of nobodies and made them some of the most popular characters. So, absolutely great movie. Go check this one out. Anyways, moving on. So, number 11, Avengers: Age of Ultron. So, I would say definitely watch this one. It's definitely one of the longer kind of drags a bit. I'll say it's a little long in the tooth. Found it a little forgettable the first time I saw it, but actually watching it again, it actually does include lots of important information that's worth noting.
Agreed.
So yeah, we actually get another stone in this film. We have
Vision.
the Mind Stone, which does give birth to the Vision. In this overall story, we kind of see a little bit of the darker side of Tony Stark. Again, him entrusting his technology. And with that, it turns on him, and he creates Ultron, which more like Weekend of Ultron because he lasted about a good 2 days. But we also get our
It was
first hint
kind of the beginnings of Civil War in this movie.
and we also
with,
get our first hint of Wakanda as well, mentioned by Bruce Banner along this point. We also meet Ulysses Claw, who is played by Andy Serkis, who we talk about later in
who
Black
eventually
Panther.
will come into Black Panther.
Yeah, so I would say go watch this movie. Saw it again not that long ago for some research purposes, and it was a lot of fun still. Definitely some really good entertaining stuff. Just a long movie, but a lot of important things.
Some
going
good
on.
fight scenes with the whole team.
Yeah,
there
some
at the
really
end.
Plus
great
the
action
Hulkbuster,
sequences.
dude.
The Hulkbuster, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
That
would
was a
say,
great scene.
yeah, definitely go watch this one. Yeah, like I said, a lot of important characters, a lot of facts, a lot of setup for the future as well.
Is Hawkeye in that one?
He sure is. Yeah. There's a lot of random stuff in there, including Thor taking a side quest into his hot tub time machine to go view the power of the stone. So he's actually I think this is actually the first time we were confirmed as to what the stones are. So and then of course they come out little by little as we go on.
Is a little fun thing is that when they're all trying to lift the hammer.
Yes,
That's a great scene.
Actually,
It's
it's
so great.
probably one of my favorite moments in all the MCU is just them hanging out at a party.
Yeah, and then the look of fear when Captain America, it looks like he almost moves it a little
It's
bit.
so
Yeah,
good.
and he's like,
Thor's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, thank God.
yeah, he's like,
Yeah, it's very fun. It's actually a really fun movie. So go check this out. Practically every other character is in this one. So good stuff in this one. Oh yeah, fun fact: Quicksilver dies. Anyways, moving on.
fuck you, Fox.
Yeah, you can have them. Moving on.
Dead mutant? What?
Final movie of Phase 2, Ant-Man. Fun movie. Doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the overall story arc. It's a great introduction to the character played by Paul Rudd. We are also introduced to Janet Van Dyne, played by Evangeline Lilly, who plays the Wasp.
Yeah,
and of
she's
course,
so hot.
Oh yeah. And we also have Michael Douglas, of course, as Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man.
Right. For those
so-
of you that didn't know, there's a couple of them.
Yeah, we have the second Ant-Man as the lead in this movie, which is a lot of fun. So it's a fun standalone film, but doesn't really have a lot to do with the whole overall story arc. So watch it in your free time, but not necessary.
I'd
for
say
the
it's
overall story.
underrated, but it's really good.
Yeah.
A lot of folks didn't get the humor.
Yeah.
But I like Michael Pena's character.
It was great.
The most. He was hilarious.
It's a great, entertaining standalone film.
Yeah.
But moving on. So that was the end of Phase 2 into Phase 3. Getting there. Number 13, Captain America: Civil War. Go
Absolutely
watch it.
a must.
Go watch it.
Yeah.
Still probably my favorite, at least until Thursday.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. This is kind of like the Avengers 2.5 in a way.
You get all the characers we
where
love.
the Black Panther really shows up for the
Yes.
This is our first introduction to T'Challa, excuse me.
T'Challa.
We actually kind of get a little bit of his origin story in this one because that's the main story. Is you see he witnesses his father getting killed, T'Chaka, and that's how he takes over the mantle of Black Panther and King of Wakanda,
Right.
which we'll find out more about his story later on. But another little minor character that was introduced into this film,
Who's that?
Peter Parker, the Spider-Man.
Yes.
Or like Spider-Boy in this one.
His return to the MCU.
Yeah.
To Marvel Universe.
It's a great
Thank you,
introduction to
Sony.
him. Did a really fun job. Tom Holland plays him.
Very
He's
funny.
Great.
Very witty.
He's everything that Spider-Man should be, in my opinion. He's young, he's the right age, and he looks like a kid, and he's just as innocent and having as
You
much
have a
fun.
metal arm?
Yeah, I love it. So this movie is absolutely a lot of fun. It's great story as far as separation of the entire group itself. This is sort of the combustion of the Avengers itself. And we also see a return of Thunderbolt Ross from the Hulk. So the one connecting factor is outside of the Hulk itself is Thunderbolt Ross proposes the Sokovia Accords, which proposes that all Avengers must register themselves to their respective governments and become acting weapons themselves. So this, of course, causes a divide between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. And, of course, we have our civil sparring session later on because a lot of pulling of punches. But absolutely go watch this movie. There's a lot of great storytelling. There's a lot of great action, some really great moments, especially at the end, some really powerful stuff between Tony and Steve.
I thought the villain was really smart in this one.
Yeah.
Baron Zemo.
Sort of a slightly modified version of Baron.
Oh, no. I know it's
Slightly
modified
modified.
because it's MCU. They're
No
gonna
mask.
modify it.
No mask.
But the way he did it to cause implosion from within, that was so smart.
Yeah,
Just
really
way to
good
do
stuff. It's kind of a pretty complex scheme that he had going on, but I really liked the way it was executed. Very fun film. Absolutely go watch this. So anyways, moving on to number 14, Doctor Strange. Fun standalone film. I really enjoyed it. Maybe not entirely necessary for the overall story, but we do get an introduction to yet another stone in the Eye of Agamotto, which is what Doctor Strange wears around his neck, which is infused with the power of the Time Stone, which obviously gives him the power to manipulate time. So great, fun standalone film. Maybe not necessary for the overall story, but it's a great introduction to the character who is very important, who we'll see him full display on Infinity War.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to really up his game in this one. We're going to see
Yeah.
a lot more magic.
Yeah, I feel like he wasn't entirely the Sorcerer Supreme in this one. I feel like he was still
He was still
learning.
kind of learning.
Yeah, so I feel by the time, I feel like even in, which we'll get to later, Ragnarok, he makes a small cameo. I feel like right there, I saw more confidence in him.
Yeah,
than
definitely
he was
learned
in
a
this
little
film.
bit.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him, actually put forth some effort in fighting, though.
Oh, yeah.
I just can't wait to see Thanos just throw down.
I do enjoy the cameo in Doctor Strange when Thor was very pleased about his endless beer. That was so hilarious.
Yeah, some really good stuff going on there. I forgot to mention a quick fact from Civil War real quick since we're talking post-credit scene. We do see Bucky get transported over to Wakanda to be put into hiding because he's still a little crazy in the head. So, which we'll go to Wakanda later.
Trying
in
to
just
fix
a couple
him.
films. Anyway, so moving past Doctor Strange, we're going to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Another fun standalone film. Again, I don't know how necessary for the overall story, but we get some great character development amongst all the Guardians, in my opinion, especially between Gamora and Nebula. You really get to see that great sibling rivalry right there. And a little bit more background as to how they were raised by Thanos, especially Nebula. You get some pretty descriptive
it's pretty deep,
upbringing.
pretty
So,
dark.
some really good stuff going on here. You got a great performance by Kurt Russell as Ego the Living Planet. Totally different version than what I'm used to, but we did get to see that big dumb planet with its face on it for a good brief few seconds.
Yeah,
But
pretty clever way of doing it. You're not
Yeah.
going to really have a planet be able to.
And then we also saw
Interact.
big ass Pac-Man.
got to see a giant Pac-Man.
That's right.
Yeah, and we also introduced Mantis, the latest addition to the Guardians of the Galaxy, who's a great, fun, little innocent character as well. She's got some great moments in here. And amazing performance by Malcolm Rooker as Yondu. Yes,
yeah.
spoilers.
I'm Mary
but-
Poppins, bitches.
Mary
Yeah.
Poppins.
Mary Poppins, y'all. Great movie. Go watch the movie. It's a lot of fun. I think both Guardians films are very colorful, entertaining movies. Go watch them. So moving on, we have Spider-Man: Homecoming. Reintroduction to Peter Parker, our young millennial. Is taking
Oh, yes.
Millennial
Very
Parker.
millennial Parker.
Yes, absolutely. This is a great, absolute standalone film. It's a lot of fun. I was a little indifferent on it the first time I saw it because, as we know, Peter Parker is mostly based around high school, and you kind
That's
of
where
grew
they've
up with
set
your
this
idea of
kid
high
at.
school. So obviously, we're way beyond high school, at least I think. So this is just not my generation
Agreed.
in a way. So it's still a lot of fun. We do get some a really quite a large appearance by Tony Stark in this one as well. It kind of serves as a mentor towards Spider-Man. So by
They're
the
really
end,
kind of setting up that next phase with Tony kind of checking out and hopefully Spider-Man taking up the reins.
Possibly.
That's what they're saying anyway.
because throughout the film, you kind of see Spider-Man being a little green, not being the best or most competent hero around, but by the end is fully fledged hero.
So incompetent they give him his own Iron Man suit.
Basically, yeah. That was one of my gripes with the film, is just that the suit was a little too powerful for me.
I agree.
But I kind of got used to it, by the end, and I think we're going to get more actual spider powers, spider sense at least in
this
Infinity
new
War.
one,
So
yeah.
I'm excited for that. But probably the best thing about this movie, in my opinion, Michael Keaton as the Vulture, completely.
Oh,
That shit was amazing.
Yeah,
He
he
was
won
amazing.
this movie.
He absolutely made this movie, above and beyond. So it's a great film. By the end, you get a nice little hint as to the garbs that we'll see Spider-Man in Infinity War.
Well,
With,
not only
the
that,
Iron
but
Spider.
Yeah.
the best dialogue transaction was between him and Parker at the prom.
In
I
the
was
car.
like, oh,
when he was figuring out who he was,
Yeah,
that was
scene
good.
super tense.
Yeah, the scene just when Michael Keaton opens the door, great, fantastic. moment.
Right, he just
So-
kind of mind blown at that point.
Yeah,
Nobody
so-
saw that coming.
So I say go watch this film just for what it is on its own. It's a lot of fun. Probably not entirely necessary. I mean,
No,
other
probably
than
not.
some good character development for both Peter Parker and Tony Stark.
It's a very small version of a movie, where Avengers, they're protecting the planet. This is very much like just his
How
neighborhood.
about the little guy?
Yeah,
The little
though-
guy.
Though
like
it
you
does
said.
directly connect from, I believe, 10 years after the Avengers because Adrian Toomes, which is the Vulture here,
Yeah.
he's kind of a blue-collar construction worker. Him and his group, they're trying to do a lot of damage control for New
Damage
York.
control,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Damage control comes in. It's a group that actually comes in and cleans up superhero damage. They kind of kick them out. And so, Adrian Toomes is out of a job at this point, so it kind of causes his turn as a villain. But anyways, that's Spider-Man Homecoming. Go check it
Yeah,
out. A lot of
good
fun.
movie.
Number 17, Thor Ragnarok. This movie's fun.
Oh boy,
This movie is fun,
Yeah.
entertaining.
I
It's
enjoyed it.
maybe debatable.
Yeah, sure. It's not dark enough for these guys over here.
I didn't say it's dark enough. I'm saying there's a lot of forced comedy.
There's
Literally.
definitely a lot of comedic moments in this, but this is definitely entertaining as hell.
You are
colorful
not
movie.
allowed to
Super
complain about
colorful,
forced comedy.
very colorful.
I'm allowed
Yeah.
to say forced comedy. I mean, they're
There
literally the movie is filled in with forced comedy. Like
Focus.
They make you
Focus
chuckle.
on the movie.
I am focusing
Hey,
on this.
it was debatable, like I said.
But there's a lot of great introductions to characters in here. There's some very interesting choices, shall we say. We have Jeff Goldblum as a Grandmaster in here.
He had
He's
some funny lines,
very
but
much
kind of
being Jeff
awkward.
Goldblum.
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot of great stuff that's going on here. A lot of introductions to new characters, including Valkyrie, played by Tessa Thompson. She was really great in this.
She was drunk the whole time.
She was. I loved it. And then we also get Hela, played by Kate Blanchett, which I actually have some theories about her character. She sort of has a demise at the end of this movie, maybe. We don't know, because everybody dies in comics. But I have a theory as to
Well,
where her character may fall into place.
Sure. With
But,
Thanos kind of falling in love with death in the comic books, right? It
we'll
may
talk
end
about
up
that.
being Hela. Is that
Well, before we get to that, at the very end, a little cliffhanger. We have a little bonus scene at the very end where Thor and Loki, they're on a ship after that Asgard's been destroyed, and they come across an even bigger ship.
a big old battleship?
Big old ship.
Dude, you
So-
totally passed up Carl Urban.
Yeah, he was there. Didn't do much.
Damn.
He was there.
I was gonna say
He
like
is a hero of the film. What are you talking about?
Was
the way they wrote his character, man, it was a waste, right? He kept jumping back and forth between being a good guy and bad guy. I'm like, come
he
on,
was
dude,
just there
He's
to
trying
be
to
there.
survive.
He was a
make
punching
up a
bag.
choice.
Yeah.
He was the force comedy.
I know.
Wow.
He was just there. Anyways, moving on to Black Panther. Let's go to Wakanda. This is one of the best, in my opinion. One of the more fun movies. I know Eddie loves this one. A lot of-
I would say for the origin movies, this is one of the better ones.
this is absolutely one of the better ones. Not
Has
just
a
an
way
origin
stronger
for,
villain too.
Yeah, well, not just an origin for Black Panther, but the country of Wakanda itself. You get a lot of story told behind us. It gives a lot more levity to the country when you see that. We see it in the trailer for Infinity War. It has a whole lot more meaning when you actually watch this film. Plus, you're introduced to a lot of great characters that will be in Infinity War as well, including M'Baku, the man-ape. You have Okoye, one of the Dora Milaje's, I think, higher generals, I believe.
Yep.
And then you also have Shuri, T'Challa's younger sister, who's a tech genius of Wakanda. who
Yeah,
may
she was
even
one of
ri-
the better characters.
She was hilarious. I
Yeah.
loved her. She was really great. She probably even rivals Tony Stark as far as genius in her technology. So
Speaking of,
yeah, so leading into the next one is Infinity War. So that's the next film that's coming up in just a few days.
oh man,
What do you guys think?
I don't
Theories.
know.
What's
There's going to be
happening?
so many characters, 76 characters in all.
Oh snap!
It's also going to be the longest movie in the MCU.
How long?
The longest.
It's like
You might be late for work, Eddie.
Yeah, it's like 7 or 8 minutes longer than the last movie. I think
You might
but-
be late for work.
That.
That's what I'm saying. You might be late for work. Just a little bit.
I had to ask off for it so we can go see this
I
Thursday night
requested
one.
it off. Trust me. But let's break down the villains of Infinity War real quick. So finally, we have Thanos getting off his ass.
The Mad
He's gonna
Titan.
finally show up. The Mad Titan, exactly. So yeah, like you said, he was actually born on the Saturn moon of Titan. And yes, like we mentioned earlier, Thanos is obsessed with death. literally the physical embodiment of death.
Yes.
There's a sort of a Grim Reaper-esque sort of character in the comics that he is physically in love with, and he will do whatever it takes, including wiping out half the universe to impress her.
Yep.
So this is Thanos' main obsession, and which is why he's after the Infinity Stones, because, like the name implies, infinite power with each stone. So once he has this bedazzled, glove on, he can basically do anything and everything with the
But
snap of
only
his
half.
fingers.
Just like a lawyer, he's only taking half.
I don't want to spoil anything directly out of the Infinity War. It's been mentioned multiple times. It's even been directly hinted at in the trailers themselves. But there's a huge moment in the Infinity War comics where once Thanos has the Infinity Gauntlet fully empowered, he snaps his fingers and a whole lot of shit goes down.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe we'll
see if it
that.
actually happens.
I kind of feel
It
like
could be a
maybe
way
this
that
might
tells
be the end
people
of
to
the
go
movie.
out.
Well, I really hope people. Or
If they
good guys
end the
actually
movie with
die.
the snap, how awesome would that snap black screen?
That would be so
That's what I'm saying. That'd be dope.
So good.
That'd be
Yeah.
dope.
But yeah, I mean, besides the gauntlet itself, I mean, Thanos himself is very powerful on his own. He has superhuman strength, stamina, durability, telekinesis, telepathy, matter manipulation. And he's also a super genius in advanced science as well. He created his little hover chair that he's always floating around in. So he's nobody to fuck with, basically.
Without the glove.
Without the glove, basically, yeah. And aside from Thanos, we already know he's coming with the Black Order as well, the Children of Thanos, as they're also known as. In the comics, I don't remember whether or not they're actually biologically his children. They're just generals, soldiers for him. But this group of villains are just as powerful and as dangerous as Thanos themselves. Let's go through them real quick. We have 4 of them in the movie themselves. There's 5 originally in the comics, but they just shaved it down to 4. So starting off with Corvus Glaive. He's the one that you see in the trailer when you see you see Vision on the ground. He's being kind of like
Tortured with
being
the
attacked,
kind of
and
the
yeah, you
staff.
see the staff that's on his head. That is the glaive of Corvus Glaive. So this character is actually Thanos' favorite general. He's extremely loyal. He has super strength, speed, endurance, all the typical superhuman stuff. But the fun fact about him, he's actually immortal while in possession of the glaive in his hand. So while this thing is intact,
That's
while
cool.
he's in possession of it, even if he gets mortally wounded, he can bring himself back to life. So he is immortal with this weapon in hand.
What if he has his arm that's holding it cut off?
I don't know. If you want to get technical, it's like putting
'Cause he's still holding it, but-
Thor's hammer in an elevator. If it goes up, is the elevator worthy? I don't know. Anyways, but this weapon is sharp enough that it can actually cut through somebody as thick as the Hulk. So he's nobody to fuck with either.
This is also the guy that was torturing Doctor Strange, correct?
No, that is the Ebony Maw, which let's go ahead and talk about him right now. So Ebony Maw is not exactly their best fighter, but he is a genius level intellect and has the power of persuasion. So he has the power of whispers, basically. So he can manipulate you just with the sound of his voice. It's called the Black Tongue.
Oh, that's clever.
So he is basically, in the way, they're sort of Doctor Strange. And he's actually been able to put down Doctor Strange in the comics himself. So there is a shot in the trailer where we see Doctor Strange being tortured. Where it's more than likely that is Ebony Maw, going at him. So I'm very excited to see this character. Again, very super intelligent, genius kind of a character with also great technology as well. He has teleportation powers due to his technology. So this is definitely a character I'm very interested in seeing. But moving on, we have Proxima Midnight. She's actually the wife to Corvus Glaive. She's a real bitch. This crazy, real sadistic, crazy lady. But again, she has the typical superhuman stuff, invulnerable, super strength, speed, and endurance, and all that good stuff. She also has her own super powerful weapon, which is a multi-pronged spear, which never misses.
Which we've seen that.
We actually, that shot that you see when Captain America comes out in his full sexy beard, that spear that he catches is tossed by Proxima Midnight. So apparently she doesn't always hit her target. But
Well, not when the super soldier comes and grabs it.
Well, it's because his beard. His beard threw
Super
her
beard.
off.
he's got that Chuck Norris beard. But yeah, that weapon itself, like I said, it never misses. It also emits powerful energy beams that can hit multiple targets at once, and it includes toxic gases as well. So very powerful weapon.
Don't mess with her.
Nope. That's a fucked up couple if you think about it.
Not an overpowered couple.
Not at all.
Oh, not at
This
all.
whole group is
Okay.
not overpowered at all. Which, speaking of which, final member, the Black Dwarf, who is not going to be called the Black Dwarf in this movie. He's going to be called Colobsidian because our PC society can't fucking leave things
Can't
alone.
handle it. Can't handle it.
No, it's
Black
got-
and dwarf.
Are you getting angry, Chris? Are you getting angry by this?
No, it's just like stop being so fucking sensitive.
Angry
it's
like Kratos.
It's about a Black Dwarf star.
Boy.
But anyways, speaking of tanks, yeah, Black Dwarf is the tank of the group. He is absolutely their bullet sponge. He is a space Hulk, basically. Not much to say about him. Big dumb animal.
Yeah.
Got really thick skin.
Can't wait to see him go up
Yeah.
against the Hulk Buster, probably.
Yes, because in the comics, he's actually the one that leads the charge on Wakanda.
Well, there you
which
go.
we obviously do see a scene where Thanos is in Wakanda as well. I feel that Colobsidian will be the one leading the charge. So we'll probably see some great Hulk on damn it, Black Dwarf. Actually, I'm just gonna go Black Dwarf. It's weird. So go check it out. But anyway, so yeah, that is the the Black Order and Thanos. So hopefully you have a little bit more information. Gotta say,
Yeah,
these
I didn't
guys
know a
have
lot of that information, a lot
Yeah.
of their powers. They
these-
sound like they're going to be pretty formidable.
These guys have some very 80s like metal bands.
Like I said,
names.
I just hope that some of the characters actually get to die, and
Oh,
not
they
just,
will.
not just come back in the loophole like the whole
Like Coulson?
Well, not only that, but like if the good guys get all the stones back, right? One of the stones can bring back people.
Oh,
from
like the Dragon Balls?
Yeah,
Just wish them all back?
basically. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the stones, let's talk about what they are and what they do.
All right, let's get stoned.
So yeah, let's get stoned real quick. Starting with the Space Jam. Sorry. Well, let's break that
Did
down
you
real
say
quick.
Space Jam?
Space
Yeah,
Jam.
Space Jam. Great movie.
Michael Jordan. Yes.
But no, the Space Stone, as they're known in the MCU, they're known as the Infinity Stones in the MCU. In the comics, they're actually known as the Infinity Gems. But so for MCU's sake, let's just go with the stone. So we have the Space Stone, the Blue Stone, which was originally seen in Thor, to be technical, but in Captain America, the First Avenger is the first time we actually see it on full display. Here it was being weaponized by the Red Skull, just to use mass weapons, what every other supervillain does, just to try to take over the world. Right, Pinky?
Of course.
But what this gem actually does when when used to its full potential, it allows
Well,
the user to exist anywhere in the universe.
In this first movie, it was actually the Tesseract, right? It's not actually
It
a
was a
stone
Tesseract.
yet. So
Not
it's
quite
actually a
yet.
little cube, a cosmic cube, if you will.
Exactly, that's what it is. We actually see it being broken down in the Infinity War trailer and being dropped into that big old blingy glove of
Correct.
Thanos. So yeah, it's not quite the stone yet, but when it is a stone and it's at its full power, it allows you to teleport, transport anywhere you want in the universe. Which in the trailers we see Thanos and stepping through several portals. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the power right there that we see.
That would make sense.
The first time we saw that, like I said, was in Captain America, the First Avenger. The last time we saw it, we believe Loki's in possession of it because during the end of Ragnarok, we see him eyeballing it real hard. So he probably walks
Yeah,
up with it.
yep, exactly.
So moving on, we have the Reality Stone, the Red Stone. This is seen in Thor: The Dark World. So this was kind of a weird one. In the movie itself, it's not very clear as to what it does. It's sort of this weird liquidy
Yeah.
stuff. It-
Also, not quite a stone yet. I think they were trying to
Yes.
lead into
I'm
that
sorry.
eventually, right?
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself, but-
well, no, I'm just
yeah.
saying, like, I don't think they were quite
Right.
trying to, like, say it was a stone at first. They were trying to, like, hint at it and then let it become
at the
something.
very end of
else.
the film, I forgot to mention the post-credit scene. We actually see it being taken to the Collector, played by Benicio del Toro, who I believe he actually mentions that. He says like 1 down, 5 to go. So, which is the first, I think, direct hint at it to being one of the stones.
One of a set.
So, like I was saying, the Reality Stone itself, in the film, it's sort of this weird liquidy stuff. It's called the ether, and it sort of just latches on to people like a symbiote, and it allows them super strength and weird reality warping abilities. Not very clear, like I said, but to kind of get a more clear definition on it, it allows the users to warp reality at their own will and make their deepest desires and wishes come true, and also allows massive influence over the universe itself. So, kind of an overpowered.
I feel like it's kind of like Scarlet Witch's chaos powers.
A little bit, her hex powers, yeah,
Yeah.
where it's kind of hard to explain, but just go with it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Moving on, we had the Power Stone, the purple one. This is what we saw in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
pretty
pretty-
self-explanatory. Lots
Yep,
of strength.
strength.
At its full potential of power, it has the power enough to destroy an entire planet. So, pretty self-explanatory.
And I believe in the comic books, if it powered up the other stones as well.
Yeah, they actually sort of complement each
Yeah.
other. There's a chart that our friend sent us that actually has a pretty good diagram of it, which we'll check that out in just a bit. But yeah, Power Stone. Last time we saw this, it was with the Nova Corps at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. But in the trailer, we saw
Yes,
that
clearly
already
Thanos has it, right?
So he's already wrecked shop over there. Let's see what happens to
We'll give it
them.
a nice little playback of him destroying that planet, probably.
Probably. That'd be sweet. Moving on, we have the Mind Stone, the Yellow Stone. Smack right dab in the middle of Vision's forehead. So this was originally in Loki's scepter, which is actually how he was able to control and manipulate everybody in the first Avengers movie. We don't find out that stone is there until Avengers Age of Ultron, when it's actually broken out by
correct,
Ultron, and that's used to birth the Vision. So this stone itself, almost self-explanatory. It does grant powerful mental abilities, including the power to subjugate others, and can project the user to higher planes of existence. In other words, astral projection. So a lot of mind-controlling powers. And it also grants increased intelligence as well. And it's also what gave the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver their powers in the film as well.
Didn't I say that earlier?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, Baron von Strucker. He was the one.
We were trying to find
experimenting on it.
the proof of that online. It just we couldn't find it, but thank you for reconfirming that.
That's what happens. Yep. So the Mind Stone is responsible for quite a lot. some pretty overpowered characters, if you ask me, with both Scarlet Witch and the Vision. So let's see how.
And Quicksilver. Wah, wah.
He was a good shield. Poor bastard.
Bullet sponge.
Yeah. So yeah, let's see what the fate of Vision is with this, because we don't know whether or not he can survive with the stone, but
Without the stone.
without the stone, yes.
There is a shot in the trailer of him being kind of drug into Wakanda, but he's clearly injured. So
yeah. So well,
we'll see if he makes it through this one.
In the trailer, it looks like Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive, they ambush Scarlet Witch on and Vision maybe on a date night. So they probably get their asses kicked pretty good until Cap comes in and saves the day.
With his beard.
With that beard. Anyways, moving on. We have the Time Stone, the green one. This was found in the Eye of Agamotto around the neck of Doctor Strange. So pretty self-explanatory. Allows you to control time.
I'm here to bargain.
It's exactly how it puts a stop to Dormammu at the end of Doctor Strange, the film. So yeah, it allows full control of time, moving forward, back, time travel, seeing into the future, manipulation, all that good stuff. So very powerful stone to have.
Yeah.
Again, very overpowered stuff. So that is the green stone. Moving on to the sixth and final stone, the Soul Stone.
Which we haven't
Where
seen
is
yet.
it?
What?
I
no
think it's
idea
in
where it's at.
Wakanda.
Wakanda? That seems to be a pretty popular spot.
We have a couple theories about that, but let's talk about what the stone actually does real quick. It allows the user to steal, control, manipulate, and alter living and dead souls.
Wow.
Crazy, crazy stuff going on here. So very understandable as to why we could think it's in Wakanda, because we saw some pretty cool psychedelic little trips that T'Challa went on talking to his deceased ancestors, including his father. So, and the little orange sand that they were burying themselves in is very prominently orange.
Yeah.
So there's still, we don't know. There's that chance that it could be there, but
Another one is
find
that
out.
Heimdall has it.
Heimdall as well. I was watching Dark World the other day, and his eyes are very prominently orange, and he's able to see all living beings. So
Another one I heard was there's a shot of Cap in the trailer where he's grabbing Thanos' fist, and Captain's his eye is yellow. So somebody was like, "Oh, the Soul Stone's really in Captain America." So there's
I
like
don't
all
like
these
that.
dumb
I don't
theories.
like
I'm like, I think it's in Wakanda. That
It's
makes-
actually
it seems
it's actually
to-
with Hawkeye the whole time.
Oh, that
he,
makes
he,
sense.
he didn't tell anybody.
He's hiding it.
That's why he has a perfect shot. 'Cause he can see. He can see.
is that what happens? Okay.
He just runs out of arrows, though.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll find out.
So
but
he didn't see that coming.
We'll see. But I think that's my rundown. I think that's
That was
pretty
a
much all the
very
information I
nice,
have.
sweet rundown, bro.
It was
It's
very
a lot of
cool.
shit. I'm
Yeah,
tired.
there's a lot of movies. That's a lot of
Do you want to
movies.
take a deep breath now? Just take a deep breath.
Parched. Been talking to people all day, and then I can read off all this stuff. So but this is fun though. There's actually some really cool information.
Thank you
that
for
I
your
don't
It
dedication.
was a good catch up. There's plenty of movies in there that I've only maybe seen
definitely.
when it came out or
Well, I think
That's
some of the theaters start their marathon Tuesday.
oh god.
Yeah, they start the
thank you.
marathon either Monday night or Tuesday morning. That leads up to the Avengers or Infinity War. So far, there's like 2-3 theaters in Cali, but I didn't see any for Vegas.
That's way too much time.
Sorry,
much
man.
time.
Why do that when you can just listen to our episode? And I
That's
just told you
right.
about everything that happened.
It just saved you
Like us, share with your friends. Look us up on
Almost an
Spotify,
entire day.
Facebook. Yeah, we're everywhere right now.
Well, unequivocally, the whole group's going to review this
Actually,
next week.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
what will help me decide whether to go or not. Is there going to be 30 or 40 minutes of trailers before each one?
before every movie. That'd be fucked up.
As well, last minute predictions before we actually go into this movie. It's happening, guys. It's here.
Thanos is going to kick everyone's ass. What do you
Well,
mean?
duh. All right, well, so give me your predictions. Who's gonna bite it in this one?
I think Cap's gonna bite it, and that Falcon's gonna take his spot as Captain America.
I think Pepper Pot's going to die.
So that was mine. Can't take that.
But I just did
Well, you
Hawkeye.
went first.
Move on, Hawkeye.
Well, we know it's not going to be Spider-Man. He just had a successful movie. It's not going to be Black Panther because he had the most successful movie.
Right?
So I think it's going to be Iron Man. Because I think
Really?
if, Captain still got another movie for Infinity War 2.
Well, technically, everybody has another movie.
Do they? And not
Yeah.
if they die in this one.
It's already built into the script that they just time travel or whatnot and just bring them back to life.
No, they'll just have
It's
flashbacks.
a Soul Stone, bro.
Yeah. It's all in the soul, bro.
We don't know yet, but yeah, I'm definitely calling. I think Cap's got to go. I feel like it just calls for his story. I think it just suits the best story arc overall. I think we're gonna hear it one more time. I can do this all day. We're gonna hear this at least one more time. I want to say, and that's gonna be it for him. But I say he's gonna go down. Pepper Potts, I think, is that gonna be when it's gonna go as well, and Loki. I feel like he's gonna be the first big bad to go within the first 10 minutes.
Well,
I'm
when he
never
hands
gonna
over
feel sorry for that
Tesseract,
guy.
I feel like maybe War Machine will die.
See, I feel like he should have died already. In Civil War, he should have been the one to go.
Well, at the end of Civil War in the comic books, the Cap dies. That's how Civil War ends. So
Yeah.
maybe he's a little running late.
I know.
Well, War Machine's still alive because he has to walk around and yell, "Hey, Tony Stank, Party of One, Tony Stank."
Thank you for that. Well, obviously, we're going to give you the full report after this movie.
Most definitely.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. We're going to catch the Thursday night, right, Sam?
Yes.
How about you
I
guys?
got my tickets. I'm ready.
Maybe.
What do you mean maybe?
Just kidding.
I think it's gonna make so much freaking money. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Gonna make all the money in the world.
200 million plus.
Oh, are we doing over and under? I'll give you a line. 220.
220? That's a pretty good line. I'm going to go with over.
I'm gonna go over as well.
It's got to be over.
And that's a big number.
Yeah, that's a huge number.
It's a
huge
huge number, but
The number's 220.
Yeah.
I'll go
Opening weekend. Over under.
222 and 50 cents.
It's
I'm kidding.
over.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You went over.
Definitely over. Definitely over for sure.
Who's gonna make $222 according to Sam?
And 50 cent.
50 cent.
And 50 cent. All right, get it right.
That's just what
that's
Sam's
like
paying
that's
for
like
alone.
4 people.
But I need 350.
All right, guys. What are we ending on? What do you got? Are we tired? It's pretty tired.
Pretty
It's
tired.
been a long
long
day.
day.
It's been a long night.
Oh, happy birthday, Dad! I know you're gonna hear this 2 days from now on Tuesday, but happy birthday 2 days ago.
Nice.
Happy
Love
birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday, Pops. Say hi to your boy.
Go play God of War.
Yeah.
Go check out Super Troopers.
Says boy a lot.
Check us out on Podbean, nofashow.com.
Facebook, Instagram, like,
that
follow,
stuff.
subscribe.
Twitter.
Please give us your review. Oh, we're on
we're on
Twitch,
Twitch.
now? Yes. Probably a few of us playing God of War on Twitch. So hope you don't get tired of God of War.
Dude.
And also, don't go watch the ending. Play the game, actually.
Yeah.
You know, only losers watch
Who
the
does that?
video games.
Who goes directly to the end of the
I know, right? I mean, must be some weird friends to have. if They
Like
watch
reading the last
ending.
chapter of a book.
So,
Like, who does that?
Or like you go to the comic book store and you flip through the comics. You're like, oh, I'm almost at the last page. Close it. Close it.
definitely don't skip to the end of this podcast. Why would you do that?
Exactly.
It's weird. Go back.
Which is right
weirdo.
now.
Unless you want to hear this kick-ass song.
That's right. Right here.
Right here.
See us next week.